What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today, well look, we've looked at 3 of the 4 starter decks from the One Piece trading card game, so frankly, it seems rude if we don't look at the 4th and final starter deck from the One Piece trading card game. That of course means it does have to be the blue starter deck, because that is the only one we've not yet looked at, the 7 Warlords of the Sea ST-03, the Crocodile starter deck, as it were. Shout out to the lovely folks over at onepiece.cardgame.dev for translations and any translated proxies that we end up using. Those dudes, can confirm, are awesome. And a quick reminder that, like we said in the other videos, we know red and purple. We know the exact deck list because we've been told. We don't know that for blue as it stands at the moment. So please do bear in mind, some of these, probably 7 of them, are going to come as 2 ofs rather than 4 ofs. You are going to need 2 deck lists to get a playset of everything, but we don't actually know which one's which, unfortunately. So, sorry. When we know, I'll try and pin a comment, but I'm going to be doing an opening next week, so if nothing else, we will definitely know then. Good. So let's start off with the leader then. We've got ourselves Crocodile. 5,000 power, 5 life, as we expect. And we've got activate main once per turn, Don -4, return up to 1 cost 5 or lower character to its owner's hand. Remembering, of course, that does require you to return Don to the Don deck in order to actually make this work, but getting rid of a 5 cost or lower character, yeah, this is going to be nice for keeping your opponent's good characters off the board. Now, we've then got Edward Weevil, and we know there are a bunch of vanilla characters in all the starter decks. We know they have equivalents from the other decks, and we know they tend to have power 2 higher than their cost. So like Edward here, 3 cost, 5,000 power, these are fine. Now we have a Crocodile here, as I've told you in previous videos. The restriction here is on card number. So you can have as many Crocodile cards as you like, but you can only have 1 leader, obviously, and you can only have 4 of each number, so this is ST-03 003, but you can have as many other Crocodile as you like. Now this is 5 cost, 6,000 power, and we've got a blocker. Given that 5,000 is about the average power you need to start trying to attack into the life of your opponent, into their leader, then yeah, this seems pretty good as a blocker. You've then got Don X1, attach 1 Don. When blocking, return up to 1 of your opponent's cost 2 or lower characters to the bottom of their deck. And sure, this is low, but there are plenty of 1 and 2 cost characters we've seen already. There's only going to be more in the future. We're already seeing a bit of a theme of taking characters off the board. Now, GECKO Moria here. We've got 4 cost, 5,000 power, and when you play, you can add a 7 Warlords of the Sea or Thriller Bark Pirates type character with a cost of 4 or less, other than another GECKO Moria, from your trash to your hand. So when you play it, you get to grab a card from your trash back to your hand. Nice bit of recovery. Sounds good to me. No, Dracul Mihawk, and if I am mispronouncing any of these, please do accept my apologies. I'm going to start watching One Piece. I'm a little bit excited, but it might not be perfect yet. If it's not, I apologise. Now here we've got counter 2,000. Should actually have pointed out when we got there that Edward Weevil and GECKO Moria have 1,000. This has 2,000. What that means is, and it's generally 1 in each of the starter decks. We don't see counter 2,000 very often. Generally, it's 1,000. This makes it a particularly good counter card. However, it has one of my favourite abilities we've seen so far. Don X1 when attacking, so attach a Don when attacking, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards from your hand. But do bear in mind, you've got stuff we've already seen, GECKO Moria, that can get a card back from the discard. There's blatantly going to be more in the future, and although this isn't really giving you a greater hand size, you're drawing 2 and discarding 2, you're cycling, you are still cycling, which means you're going to see the cards you want faster, which is good. Now, Jinbei here is 2 cost, 4,000 power, 1,000 counter, vanilla card, it's fine, we see these in all the decks. Sentomaru here, 3 cost, 4,000 power with 1,000 counter. Don 1, activate main, once per turn. So once per turn in your main phase, you can attach a Don to activate it. And then you've got to pay a 2 cost on top of it. So you attach a Don, then you pay 2, and you get to play up to 1 cost 4 or lower Pacifista from your deck. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Because you're not playing from your discard or from your hand. You don't need to find the card. You get to search your deck for it. And again, if you've played the Digimon TCG as much as I have, you'll know we don't have this kind of search in the Digimon TCG. We've seen like pretty much 13 sets at this stage of Digimon. That's a lot. We don't have this level of search. It doesn't exist in the Digimon TCG. So being able to just search your deck for a level 4 or lower Pacifista is absolutely ridiculous. You attach a Don, rest a couple of Don. This is really good. Between that and Dracula Mihawk, I'm starting to like this deck. Now, Trafalgar Law comes in, 1 cost, 1,000 power blocker. We've seen these in most of the starter decks as well, I think all of them. 1 cost, 1,000 power, it's a blocker. It doesn't really have enough power to block anything substantial at all and survive, but it's there to just save you 1 attack, save you a turn. No counter here, so it is just there as a blocker. Now, Donquixote Doflamingo, 7 cost, 7,000 power. On play, return a cost 7 or lower character to its owner's hand. Nice. But we also saw that we had Crocodile that can get rid of an opponent's character, and Crocodile that can get rid of an opponent's character. So this is basically, showing us what blue is all about. It's taking characters off the board, and I am loving it. Now, we got Bartholomew Kuma here. 2 cost, 3,000 power. When you play, look at 3 cards on the top of your deck and return them to the top or bottom of your deck in any order. And this is really, really good. Both parts of that are good. Firstly, you get to rearrange, and that's a good thing. But if you don't want the cards that are there, get rid of them. Put them on the bottom of your deck, and fine, you won't know what's on the top of your deck, but that's fine, because if the card you want isn't on top of your deck or isn't in the top 3 cards, get rid of them. Try and find another. Sounds good to me. It's also got a trigger, the first card we see from this deck that just lets you play it. And then, of course, you also get the play skill because it doesn't say that you don't. Trigger, remember, is a skill that activates when a card is taken from your life. So when your opponent gets an attack through your leader, you get 1 of your life. And if that card has a trigger, that's when the trigger activates. Buggy is a 1 cost, 3,000 power, or plus 1,000 counter vanilla character. It's fine. It's generic. As is Pacifista, 4 cost, 6,000 power, and counter plus 1,000. These are all standard. We were expecting them. Now, Boa Hancock here, 3 cost, 1,000 power, counter plus 1,000. There's got to be something going on here, because 3 cost for 1,000 power is terrible. Well, firstly, you've got blocker, which is nice, but also it gets played on a trigger. What that means is, if this card comes out as a card that would be taken from your life, then you get to play it for free, and then you've got a blocker on the field that you haven't had to pay for. This is a very, very nice thing indeed. This one works very, very nicely. And then finally, in terms of characters, we have got ourselves Marshall D. Teach. 4 cost, 4,000 power, counter plus 1,000, and on play, return a character 3 cost or less to their owner's hand. You will notice it says a character, not an opponent's character, which is actually the same language we see on Donquixote Doflamingo here, and it must be borne in mind, this could be yours or your opponent's, and this is very good. Compare that to, say, Crocodile, that specifically says one of your opponents. And this is really nice because it means you can return one of your characters to your hand, and then you get a really nice play skill as well. Worth pointing out that the leader Crocodile also is 1 character. It doesn't say it has to be your opponent's. The only one that does is the character Crocodile. That is an important rule distinction we need to be very clear about. Then we finish off with some event cards. We've got Sables, a 4 cost card. Return one of your opponent's characters of a cost or 7 or less to its owner's hand. Nice for a bit of board clearing, and that is only your opponent. As a trigger, it does the same thing. We've then got the 2-cost card, Thrustpad Cannon. It's a counter card, so it must be played during the counter step. Return a character of a cost of 3 or less to its owner's hand, and that could be yours or your opponent's. And as a trigger, you activate this card's counter effect, which is nice. And then we've got the 2-cost Love Beam, also a counter, but no trigger here. Your leader or up to one of your characters gains 4,000 power for the duration of the battle, and then if you have 3 or fewer cards in hand, draw a card. Cool. So a little bit of draw as well as a boost in power. This blue deck was not one that was interesting me initially, but when I'm looking at cards like Dracula Mihawk and cards like Sentomaru here, I'm actually liking this deck an awful lot more. Plus, it's always nice to get rid of your opponent's cards. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this. I want to know basically anything you want to tell me about this deck, about One Piece, or about anything, honestly. So let me know in the comment section, would ya? Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk One Piece and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross and you've been watching Wasi Plays.